The United States says it is at war in the Persian Gulf because Saddam Hussein conducted a brutal invasion of Kuwait that was in violation of international law, and that the United Nations set him a deadline of January the 15th to remove his troops from Kuwait. He did not obey that deadline, and that with the United Nations sanctions, the United States, at the head of a coalition, has decided to remove Saddam Hussein and his troops from Kuwait. What is your own analysis of why the U.S. is at war in the Persian Gulf?
In the first place, the United States of America cannot speak of going to attack anyone for annexing any state. America was founded on the annihilation of over 300 Indian nations in this country. They were totally annihilated after American capitalism had signed treaties with them. So for them to tell me whose country is based on genocide, that they're going to protect people, that's not serious. Unfortunately, the people in America, because the capitalist press, present company notwithstanding, because the capitalist press seeks to have the people react on instincts. You know, the Viet Cong's a communist, let's get him. Saddam Hussein is a monster, let's wipe him out. They think on these one-lines, instinctive actualities, they can go at it. But it's pathetic. The people in America, even those young men who are in Saudi Arabia today, getting ready to give their blood, they don't know what is Kuwait. They don't know what is Iraq. They don't know if Kuwait was part of Iraq, when it was. They don't know how it was taken away from Iraq. What were the conditions to bring it back? Why this process has taken so long? They don't know what is Zionism. They don't know what its role is in there. They don't know what the state of Israel. They know absolutely nothing except Saddam Hussein is a monster and let's get him. So we can't take these things seriously. One thing we know, America's a greedy country. That's for sure. That's one thing we know. And America will do anything for greed. And it will send its young men to die for oil. That's clear.
So that is what you feel the reason is for the United States being in the Persian Gulf? Simple, straight-up oil.
No, it's not what I believe. It's a fact. It's a fact. The only reason American priests, why are they not in Azania, South Africa, where racist pigs are shooting down our children every day, have taken our land, completely taken our land, disfranchised from our land on our own land? Why don't they attack the clerk? I mean, whom are they playing?
You mentioned those young men who are in the Persian Gulf and who may die. About 30% of the males are black, almost 50% of the females are black, and that poses a dilemma for many people who are against this war. On the one hand, black people have always fought courageously for America when asked to do so. On the other hand, there are a lot of black people in opposition to this war, and many of them have relatives, and because so many reservists have been called up, there are a lot of black fathers and mothers now in the Persian Gulf, and people have a lot of problems trying to distinguish between the policy and men and women who carry it out.
Well, I don't think so. You had the same problem in Vietnam. There are two sides to every war, a just side and unjust side. Either you want America to win, or you want America to be defeated because she's incorrect. If she does, those who fight for America must also be defeated, that's clear. But we're going to see a lot of different things in this war in terms of resistance and protest movement. You know, they're just talking television about their new tricks. We got a lot of new tricks for them. There's going to be a lot of desertion. A lot of Africans are going to desert because they're going to see what business are they, why are they fighting for, what are they fighting? Why are they giving their blood in the sand? Why? We Africans have given our blood, as you have correctly pointed out, in more wars. We've given more of our blood out of proportion to our number than any other ethnic group in this country. And our blood is shed inside this country by racist pigs such as the CIA, the Ku Klux Klan, and the police more than any other ethnic group in this country. What are we fighting for?
Another dilemma that some people have is with the fact that the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff is a black man, and many of those people look with pride at the fact that groups such as the Tuskegee Airmen and others serve to integrate the armed forces, and that is to merely gain access to officers' clubs and the like, which they weren't allowed to. And they feel that Colin Powell has come about as a result of the efforts of those people. So on the one hand, they feel a certain pride at his accomplishment, and on the other hand, have some questions about his role in the war. What would you say to those people?
Well, this is unfortunate because, again, they're not doing serious analysis, just going on the one-liners, you know. The only reason, well, anyway, no African in this country has made individual advancement unless through the effort of mass struggle. And we've had no advancement without bloodshed in this mass struggle, whether it be violent or non-violent protest. For example, just to sit in a filthy 5 and 10 cent store, we must shed our blood. To ride a bus, even though we pay like everybody else and sit where we want to sit, we must shed our blood. To get our children into schools where we pay taxes just like everybody else, we must shed our blood. Indeed, just to get the vote, which every immigrant gets once he puts his foot here, we must shed our blood. So we've made no advancement as a people, and no one listening to my voice now can show me one individual advancement we have made as a people without the shedding of our blood. Colin Powell didn't get there because he's a great soldier. He has to be. He's there simply because of the protests led by Dr. Martin Luther King to confuse us. That's the only reason Powell is occupying that seat, because of King. There's a contradiction. You cannot love King and love Powell. Even the Bible says you can't love God and the devil.
Let us move on. What would you have done if you were in a position to do it about Saddam Hussein's invasion of Kuwait?
I'd let him keep Kuwait.
Why?
I know the history of it. I know the history of it. It's just like Africa. Africa was divided at the Berlin Conference by European imperialists. The Middle East was divided by Europeans. They knew nothing about it. They went there to divide it for their own interest in their fights against each other. It was unjustly divided from Iraq.
If, in fact, Saddam Hussein kept Kuwait, do you think he would have posed any danger to the United States?
I don't see how. Except, of course, he would have reclaimed his oil. That's all.
And, of course, the president has said that we have to fight for the quality of our life, the implication being that were Saddam Hussein to control oil prices, the prices of gasoline and other uses for oil would go through the ceiling in the United States, and it would impair the quality of life, he says, not only in the United States, but in the entire world.
The President of the United States supports American imperialism. He, of course, his job was to be the armed guard of it. He was head CIA agent. He was top cop for America. So that's his line, but this is stupidity. Clear, outright stupidity. Everywhere in the world where raw resources are being taken, the raw resources are taken out of the countries. The people there have nothing to say about the price of those raw resources. Bauxite is taken out of the iron. The people who have bauxite, they cannot say anything about it in Jamaica. It's the bauxite companies in America who give the price for the low quality of the raw materials, come back, make manufactured products, and sell back the same product to the Jamaicans at higher prices. The Africans in Jamaica cannot tolerate this. This is everywhere around the world. So America wants to take the oil at a cheap price, sell it back after manufacturing high price, making profits everywhere. No, the oil belongs to the people in the Middle East. It's their oil.
Some people may not understand what you mean when you discuss American imperialism. Could you describe for them what you're talking about?
It's very good. Imperialism is a system where a country goes to rape and exploit another country by taking out the resources of that country, making those resources come to the motherland, which they call the motherland, the exploiting country. That country there will now manufacture goods, sell back the same goods to the country at another price, at a higher price. Let me give you an example. When the great son of Africa, Kwame Ture, was president of Ghana, you know, cocoa was the base. The British used to take the cocoa out at a very low price, make chocolate, sell chocolate at high prices all over the world, even sell it back at Ghana at high prices, and there was nothing that they could do about it. So this is what imperialism is. It takes the resources out, it robs them, and it exploits the exploited and the labor of the people, getting them out and at high prices. Of course, the best example is Zambia, South Africa, with our diamonds. It's our diamonds. We go into the ground, we die to pull those diamonds out, and when we pull them out, they go through Israel and then are sold in 42th Street, on Brussels, everywhere else, and we get absolutely nothing, and it's our diamonds. Imperialism will be destroyed.
You also mentioned Zionism and said that some of our young people in the Persian Gulf may not understand the role that Zionism is playing in this conflict. Could you explain what you mean by that?
Unfortunately, they don't know what Zionism is, but Zionism is a political philosophy which has brought about the state of Israel, the so-called state of Israel. This political philosophy has nothing to do with religion. On the contrary, it seeks to confuse others and let them think that Zionism and Judaism is one and the same. I am a conscious African. I know properly my history. I know that Africa gave Judaism to the world. I know that the first Jews in the world were Africans. Not only do I know this, but I inform everyone who has doubts about it to read a book by Sigmund Freud entitled Moses and Monotheism as a beginning. Consequently, I know that Judaism and Zionism are not the same. Zionism had its first organizational expressions in 1897 in Basel, Switzerland, in Europe. Here was a man by the name of Theodor Herzl, H-E-R-Z-L. He was the founder of Zionism. He said that he was going to find the state that God promised the Jews. Listen to this very carefully. This man, Herzl, was an atheist. He believed that there was no God. He said God did not exist. Now, how is it that a man who believes that God does not exist is going to find a state that God promised to his chosen people? I'm telling you, this man is Satan in disguise. Zionism is a satanic movement. It is devil. It is imperialism. It is racist. It has gone and taken the lands of the Palestinian people and through terrorism has driven them out. And through terrorism, it maintains its power. And the United States of America, with over 6 million homeless, sends to Israel billions and billions and billions of dollars everywhere to bomb Palestinian people while homeless people are here and unemployed are here. Zionism is going to raise this war and make the people in America become clear to what it is and become anti-Zionist and stop the aid to Israel and use the money to take care of the homeless in this country.
Every time that Kwame Ture has spoken in this area at the University of Maryland campus, there has been a protest by Jewish Americans who object to your views on Zionism. Are you anti-Jewish?
I cannot be anti-Jewish. Africa gave Judaism to the world. I am a conscious African. I am proud of Africa's contribution. As a matter of fact, I tell them who are not Jews, but in fact Zionists, that they ought to go and learn something from me, because my people gave them the religion of Judaism, which is a proper religion.